Mr Acting Deputy President. I rise this evening to speak about the Hear Our Voices Stepping Out Women's Gathering, which I attended last Friday in Glenorchy in Tasmania. This was the second annual Multicultural Women's Gathering hosted by the Migrant Resource Centre and the Glenorchy City Council. Given the success of the last year's event, I'm pleased that they, along with the Red Cross, Hobart Women's Shelter, bicultural workers and a range of community organisations supported a second gathering this year. The Hear Our Voices gathering provides an opportunity for migrant and refugee women of all ages and backgrounds to share ideas, make new friends and discuss the issues that are important to them. It also provided an opportunity for women to hear from a number of guest speakers, including Maher Abdo, Executive Officer of United Muslim Women's Association, and Regina Quaison, Senior Research and Policy Advocate of Multicultural Centre for Women's Health. The Hear Our Voices gathering held small group discussions focusing on the good things about being a woman of their own culture, the challenges that they face, and what it's like now living here, settling in Australia. Over 100 women attended this event, along with some female students from the nearby secondary colleges. It included women from Afghan and Hazara, Karen, Burmese, Bhutanese and Iranian communities, as well as some of the Sudanese, Ethiopian, Congolese, Iraqi and other cultural women. And a volunteer as well from the Migrant Resource Centre recently arrived from Madagascar. Migrant women make a significant contribution to Australian society, yet some can find it very hard to have their voices heard. They can face many challenges, including language barriers, health issues, racism and family violence. Having left their home countries, many do not have the support networks here in Australia. Many migrant women feel the frustration of language barriers as they seek to find paid work and make social connections. Being unable to communicate proficiently in English can contribute to great stress, depression and social isolation. These were some of the views that I heard from women that shared their stories last Friday. And while there is government assistance available to a certain degree for English classes, one of the participants commented that we do need more help with our English. The hours are not enough, and it feels like my children know more than me. Some women have chronic health issues, which may be due to a conflict in their own home countries. Prioritising, of course, their own health and well-being can be challenging, particularly when women face providing care for their own family members and ongoing health issues that they may face. Migrant women shared that they are also still facing racial abuse. And I was saddened to hear that one woman said, "People throw things on us at the street. We've had our scarves pulled off. Why? Australia is a democratic country and we've escaped the Taliban. So why are they treating us this way?" Mr Acting Deputy President, this is a disgrace and clearly not acceptable in a modern and multicultural Australia. All Australians have the right to safety regardless of their race or religion. I was very disappointed to hear that events such as these are continuing to still occur in my home state. Migrant women, together with non-migrant women, also continue to be victims, of course, unfortunately, of family violence. Violence against women violates and impairs their human rights and their fundamental freedoms. As a community, we do need to do much more to stop it. We lack a clear understanding of the extent of family violence and its impacts for some of these migrant women, especially if women are not speaking out or feeling safe to speak out about it. Research projects such as Aspire, which is a collaboration between the University of Melbourne, the Multicultural Centre for Women's Health and the University of Tasmania, are important to gather information for migrant women's concerns and experiences with family violence. The Hear Our Voices and Stepping Out forum also gives women an opportunity to discuss issues in a safe environment and receive support. Women can gather in small groups and they can share their stories. This includes good stories, though, of course, as well, and the positive aspects of now living in Australia. One of the women said, "Back home, when you marry, you don't go to school. Here, any time you can go to school. School gives us new chances and new opportunities." Non-government organisations such as the Migrant Resource Centre of Southern Tasmania are doing a fantastic job in supporting these migrant women. The Migrant Resource Centre is a not-for-profit organisation, but it's been helping migrant and refugee women and migrant refugees in general to settle in Tasmania since 1979. It has a dedicated team working hard to provide individual help for new migrants and refugees settling in Tasmania, and they also provide help and support for older migrants, counselling and support for migrants who have experienced torture and trauma, and to seek to build cultural awareness of migrant issues. We need to recognise and thank groups such as these, which are working to build a just and diverse, inclusive society. And there are many staff that make up the Migrant Resource Centre, as there are many volunteers. I firstly would like to thank the volunteers, because it's without your support I don't think that the Migrant Resource Centre and the contribution it makes to the broader migrant and refugee population in Tasmania would be as successful as it is. I want to thank my dad as being one of those volunteers as well. But I also want to particularly thank tonight the manager of the Migrant Resource Centre, Cedric Manning, who has really been a leader in the Tasmanian community for cowed communities over the last 8 years. I understand that Cedric is stepping down from this role after some 8 years of contribution, and I wish him well on his future endeavours. But I thank him wholeheartedly for his contribution, also his contribution as chair of the Settlement Council of Australia. I also want to thank Yabo Thompson, who's the project coordinator of Hear Our Voices, who has worked tirelessly for decades for migrant and refugee women in Tasmania, and it was her impetus and her drive that made sure that the second year of Hear Our Voices ran once again. And of course I also recognise all the other NGOs and people that work with them, such as the Multicultural Council of Tasmania and the Multicultural Centre for Women's Health. Much work went into organising Hearing Our Voices gathering. It was a success, and those success statements, I think, come from the participants themselves, who said, "It isn't easy to stand up and tell my story, but I did it because I want you all to know that here you can talk about your experiences honestly and openly. I want more gatherings like this so we can get together so it doesn't happen enough." Given its success, I also hope that Hear Our Voices gathering continues to be held into the future. In fact, perhaps continues to be held more often than annually. I understand that that takes funding, though, and I know the complications that perhaps can come with that when dealing with governments of the current persuasion. So in addition to supporting the forums such as these, we can do more to promote inclusiveness. We all can, to respect and to give a sense of belonging for people in our communities. Today, for example, I was pleased this morning to join with my Labor colleagues in attending a Harmony Day morning tea, a few days ahead, of course, of Harmony Day, which falls on Saturday the 21st of March. Harmony Day provides an opportunity for all Australians to participate and show their support for a multicultural society, a multicultural Australia. I know there are a number of activities that will take place over the next few days in the lead up to Saturday, and particularly on Saturday for Harmony Day, be them at schools, at community houses, a number of events which we can all participate in to show our support for a harmonious Australia, an inclusive Australia, one that is accepting of people of diverse backgrounds, and one that supports multiculturalism. Thank you.
Thank you.